Hi, I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Today I want to look at this new product from Toe Point Archery. This is called the Toe Point Top X Stabilizer. It's new on the market now. Toe Point make a whole bunch of accessories. It's out of China. It's aimed at the bottom end market. They do compounds, recurves, a whole bunch of accessories. A lot are very similar copy products to the American products, but I'm going to say I don't know about copyrights and stuff. I don't know I don't know about copyrights. So I don't know who owns what copyright. I don't know how that works. So I'm sure I'm going to get lots of comments about that, but I'm just showing you this product. This is the carbon stabilizer here. I can tell you all about copyrights, but then I will while I'm doing this review. So this is carbon. Now this here is nicely finished. This, where you see the blue here, it comes in red, orange, silver, green. I think that's it. And I'll show you the purple. Did I say purple? There's the purple. They do long, so they do 27 inches, 30 inches, 32 inches. These are aimed at the bottom end of the market. They come with weights and dampeners. So price point on these, let's say long rod, about $50. The short rod, probably around $40. That's me pulling numbers out of the air, because that's what I tend to do. Now with the short rods, because they're so short, I find it doesn't make much difference which short rod you go for as far as vibration. And if you're going to add a whole bunch of weight to the bottom here, really it didn't make much difference to me which company short rod you use, but it makes a heck of a lot of difference on the front rod because they're so long, and when you add weight they vibrate. So I'd be more than happy to use one of these as a back rod. And I find some of the, I'm going to say some better stabilizers, the stiffer ones from Dead Center make a whole bunch of good stabilizers which are expensive, and all these companies are expensive. Bowfinger makes some thin carbon. Eastern, the Holocron, the hot rod stabilizers, the gold tip, bee stinger stabilizers. But the problem is the short ones are really expensive. You're probably talking 150 Australian dollars for a short rod, and I'm about to go to V-Bars. So it becomes expensive where you can buy these for probably around $35. So now the long rod, they're going to be expensive ones. They're going to set you back around 300. Where one of these is going to set you back around $50. But like I said, this is not the same as one of those. Now if you're not going to fit a whole bunch of weight down the front, you can see it comes with some weight already. Now the amount of weight on this is going to be fine for the average shooter. So for the average shooter, this is going to be absolutely fine. It's only when you start stacking on heaps of weight is this going to be an issue. And let's have a look how much flex exists in this. Now this stabilizer is pretty stiff. It's pretty good. For $55, the low-end stabilizers from companies Fivix, Cartel, Win & Win. I forgot some of the cheap stabilizers. I think this is one of the better ones as far as stiffness. I think the pattern looks good on the stabilizer. I like these colors here. To me it looks pretty good, and it comes with a dampener at the end. So $50, I think this is pretty good. Now let's go and have a shot with this and see how this feels on the bow. It also came with a thread, so if you want to add more weights on. And this little thing here is a locking screw. And just there, I'm hoping you can see just there. Try and zoom in. Just there, this little silver thing, you can push that into. You can push that into that hole, and it gives you like a lever to lock down on it, which is kind of cool. I found Toe Point, so Chinese company, is really starting to produce some higher quality stuff, and I know they make stuff for a lot of the American companies, so you can see how it connects there. Comes with a washer, which is good because it tends to stop the things from coming loose. But they really started off in the cheap end of town, and yes, they're still in the cheap end of town, but they're moving up in quality. They're moving up in the products and pricing. So they still have cheap end products, but they're starting to produce more top end stuff now. And for people getting into sport, this is a real option. I'm going to say that I get a lot of flack from people, and especially from people who are given their stuff. Especially people who go and ask all the manufacturers, hey, give me free stuff. Those people are first to come out and jump on you. And it's like, dude, do you pay for your stuff? No, you don't? Okay. I can't think of the guy's name, but I know he gave me crap. Look, when people come into my store, they're generally beginners, so they're generally on a tight budget. Generally, they've got $100 to spend on a bow and arrows, and I'm like, well, but even if they do, like they're serious, you know, like a kid today, he came in and he had his mum wanted to spend $700 fully kitted out on a target set out. The kid's been shooting for a year. He's from the country, came down, and I've got $700. I'm going to spend $100 on the arrows. I've got $600 to spend on the rest of the kit. So that's arrow scope, release aid, bow case. And then you've got to think, well, what arrow rest I'm going to fit, what. I mean, buying an expensive release aid is not even in the question. Buying an expensive stabilizer is not in the question. And that's where this sort of stuff comes into the grounds. Top end stuff for me in my store, where guys come in and like money's no object and they want to drop $3,000 in the store, I can name the customers who have done that in my 20 years, 30 years in the industry. Now the other store down the road, he has a whole bunch of people who do that, and it might be, well, but he's very much aimed. He doesn't have the cheaper line products generally in his store. He tends to aim more at the high-end target archers. As a result, you're only getting a few of those customers. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying your average 99% of customers are coming in and they're budget conscious. They generally don't know if they get into the sport, and they're like, we don't know how much we want to spend, and that's where these low-end stabilizers come in. So let's go and give this a shot and see what it feels like. Now you're going to be asked a question, what size stabilizer do I get? Do I get 27, 30 or 33? What the longer stabilizer does, the concept of a stabilizer is to absorb shock and vibration. The more weight you put down further away from the bow, the harder it is for the bow to move. So if you go for a short stabilizer to have the same impact as a long stabilizer, you need more weight. So a 33-inch stabilizer is going to be harder to move when you're aiming than a 14-inch stabilizer. 14-inch stabilizer is going to be easier to move around the target with. However, unless you've got the strength and all that to hold up all this weight, that's where it sort of comes into it. The more you shoot and the more muscles you build up, the more weight you can put down there. Shorter stabilizers are less affected by wind than longer stabilizers. The average archer is going to shoot, 32 or 30 or a 30-inch stabilizer. Ladies or kids who are a bit shorter will probably shoot 27 inches. Rule of thumb, is 2 inches going to make a difference? Absolutely not. For me, my stabilizers are either 30 or 32 inches long. So I hope that kind of helps. Let's go and have a shot with this and see what I think of it. Okay, so with beginners, when I normally set up a beginner, I generally don't fit a back stabilizer because beginners generally don't have a lot of weight on their bow. They're struggling with the strength factor of actually holding up a bow in the first place. So they have a strength problem in pulling back the bow, and they have another problem with the actual weight of the bow. So I generally fit one stabilizer at the front. You see this has got 3 weights at the front. I'd probably reduce that weight on this stabilizer. I think it looks nice. So let's see what the vibration's like on it. Now most people, I'm going to say, you can shoot absolutely fine with no weight on the stabilizer. With very little weight on the stabilizer, you can shoot absolutely fine. I find I shoot better with more weight as long as I can hold it up. Okay, let's have a shot. Now, the bow will feel better with the back stabilizer on, but we're just checking the vibration of this. I tell you what, with all the weight off my bow, with just the three bits of weight on this bow at the front, my bow feels so light, it's amazing. My bow feels like a toy without all the weight on it. The arrow went in the 10. When I'm aiming, when I have my... that's how much weight I'm currently running with the Dead Center Icon X, which is a great stabilizer. When I'm aiming with this, and it's not to do that this is vibrating, because it's not vibrating. My sight, when I'm aiming at a target, is moving from one side of the 9 to the other side of the 9. So normally when I aim, it kind of bounces around the 10, depending how much I've been practicing. But this, with this stabilizer on, it's bouncing from one side of the 9 to the other side of the 9. When I aim, it's like it's like ugh. It's funny, I'm getting up there, I'm aiming, it's going woo, left to right, left to right, left to right, like this. So how did I find that? You can see that came loose there. That's just a matter of tightening it up. The vibration actually felt pretty good in the shot. As far as the other beginner stabilizers on the market, I think the Xenia from Fivix is a very good beginner stabilizer. It's got a dampener as well on it. All three of those arrows are in the 10, even though it's bouncing from 9 to 9. I'm going to say it's a pretty good stabilizer for the money. The Toe Point Top X, I think the colors are good. It makes your bow look good. I think this is a good beginner option. I think when you get to the stage where you want to add lots of weight, you really need to upgrade to a better quality stabilizer, and then you're going to be spending the $300 odd on a stabilizer. Could you add more weight to this stabilizer? Absolutely. I reckon you could go up to probably 12 ounces on this until you start getting the vibration thing happening. You might be able to run more. But if you're getting that serious, if you're running 12 ounces down the front end, you're probably a serious archer and you're probably practicing a lot. And at that stage, the difference between a $50 stabilizer and a $300 stabilizer, you probably don't care much about. And I'm going to go again, there's not a lot of people shooting in my state who I see who want to add a bunch of weight to their end of their stabilizers, because 99% of my archers are recreational shooters who shoot at home. And as a result, the amount of weight which comes with this is perfect, and you could even shoot less because you probably don't have the strength to hold up the bow. So overall, the Toe Point Top X stabilizers I like. I think nicely finished, and I don't know how they make this stuff for this price, because it's just unbelievable, the price point on this. So I'm going to say my $300 Dead Center stabilizer absolutely better than this. Is it $250 better? Look, I don't think so, but when you're spending money on going to a competition, when you're shooting like every night, when you've been shooting for 30 years, you know, and this is what you do, you shoot archery, look, just buy yourself the better stabilizer. But if you're a beginner and you're just starting out, you don't know if you'll be shooting in 2 years, if you don't know you'll be shooting, then the cheap stabilizer like the Toe Point Top X is absolutely fine to get yourself started. And then fit yourself the back bar or a twin V bar. They have matching colors, they're nice. Now for a recurve archer, you're probably not going to fit much weight down the front. These are going to be absolutely fine for recurve archery. I mean, they're going to be more than enough. great stabilizer for recurve archers, and only an issue for compound archers who are going to fit massive amounts of weight down the front end. So I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Enjoy your archery, and the more you shoot, the better you'll shoot. Thanks for watching. Bye.